First, let's start with how to choose a good pair. So, like I said, like if you start, if you want to focus on a currency pair, British pound to Japanese yen, then you would need to know the fundamentals of those countries to understand the pair. And the best time to trade that pair would be the London session or the Asian session. You're not going to be trading the British pound to Japanese yen at 12 p.m. Eastern because London session closes around 10:30 to 11 a.m. EST.
Correct. And that's
Exact,
why I stick to gold and the indices because they
exact,
trade in New York session.
exactly. Gold, US session is perfect for gold. But gold, like I said, someone could come out and say something and it could shift the whole momentum for that day. Um,
Correct.
yes. So now we know what currency you said gold. Do you know how to draw support and resistance? More like technical side or
No, please show me.
like a resistance, like it's where price has fallen from, right? And support is where price have bounced from previously.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Um, so you could do that on like based on like the previous historical data that you see on the chart. Like I see a support here. And you could even change in the different colors, like for the resistance, you could have red. And then so this price has fallen from there. But all that is just technical side, right?
Hmm.
You said you're scalping, right? Or swinging.
Well, scalping and day trading, depending on the entries, I run it till it runs out.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. It's best to have a trading plan.
Okay.
Over time, you're gonna want to like improve it because you're gonna see different things that's happening, and then you're gonna be like, okay, I gotta change some things about my trading plan. But the most important is you have to also stick to it. Like if you say you're gonna be swinging, that's all you're doing for a long period of time. If you're saying you're scalping, you're going to be scalping. And you don't want to like let's say you're in a position, you don't want to be like I should swing it now or I should move my stop loss or I should do this or I should do that. You're breaking your rules,
Correct.
right? So it's best to have a written plan if possible and try to stick to it. Make it simplified and over time as you're growing, you're going to want to change some things. There's a lot of different ways to analyze the market and everything works, believe it or not, but there's only a probability of it working. Like there's nothing is 100%.
Correct.
Yeah, like there's always you're gonna have manipulation that happens or some events that is gonna try to not gonna make sense. And what comes in is your experience and how much self-control you have to manage that risk. Right?
Hmm.
So let's
Right.
say, so this is gold, right? I like to look at
Mhm.
gold um from the higher time frame to the lower time frame.
Yeah, and I look for overlapping zones. I look for overlapping zones when it talks about when I see um, supply and demand in overlapping zones gives me a
Picture.
bigger picture, but it
Yeah.
also tells me it gives me it gives me a confluence of that zone is active all the way through, and it shows me how many times it's been hit.
Yes.
The more I break it down, the more it shows me how much volume has actually gone in and out of it.
Yes. So it's best to get an idea of like well where we are in the session. If you look at the higher time frame, like monthly, weekly, right? And
Right.
you want to see price is always looking left.
Yes.
Just yeah, so if there is a resistance, then you want to mark that down, like because that's where price previously has consolidated for a long period of time.
Right.
You go down to weekly, you just to get an idea, oh, I see a support being formed here because we got a bullish engulfing candle, right? We have
Right.
made a previous high here, and there's likely potential to continue retesting this high at 24.37, right? So I look at
Right.
the daily, and you could analyze all going down from the monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour. But I like to just to do the 4 hour because I'm intraday trader. I'm not a scalper. I'm not a swinger. I just come in uh whenever the market presents itself.
Meaning
It,
what? You take one trade, you open the computer at 8 o'clock. If there's no trade there, you walk away and come back at noon. What do you do?
no,
How do
so
you?
based on my trading plan, I like to look at the charts from 7 a.m.
Yes.
to anywhere to 11 to
Well,
12
that's
a.m.
gone right through news, so the charts have changed.
Yes, I don't trade news. If it's a news day, I try to stay away from that until
Okay.
after the new 4 hour candle has started, which is 9 o'clock.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, I'll look at the 4 hour and I draw this resistance here. So when we break above that, there's a potential of this becoming a support now.
That is a true support. But now your zone is to the left there. There's your zone right there.
This one right here?
Now, well, no, that's that's gone. If you go down, drill down lower, that's gone. You're correct on the where your mouse is right now. You're correct there,
Yeah,
and up top where your red zone is, you're correct as well. That's your support and resistance zone for this current price.
exactly.
Correct.
We could also say that this is a support as well because price closed bullish here.
Right. It did get rejected off there, didn't it?
Exactly. And but we also got a close here, which means we broke support. So you see how I'm going by candle?
Okay. Okay. I see. Okay. Okay.
Yes. So if this was like the next day, I would say since we broke in this support and there's this clean candles of traffic, this we call free traffic.
Yeah, free spot. There's clean air. There's nothing stopping that. And the
Exactly.
run up,
It's
there was no red candle. It ran
yeah,
right up with it.
yeah, there's no cluster of candles like this.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is clean traffic. So if this was a volume time, which is like New York session, what would happen is you would get a new 4 hour candle, wake up, it should respect the zone here, like the previous 4 hour candle, and then dip down. Dip down to where? To this region of previous resistance that will turn to a support.
So would you take a short off your lower zone to
That's a
that?
that's a good question. So if it's in the right time, I would take it. If it's in my session, I would take it. If it's not my session, I would um wait until it dips into here, make a support, and that way I'll be with the trend.
And right
I'll be
now,
looking for a buy in this
you'll be
region here.
looking for a buy. You'll be looking for it to bounce off that line for a retest.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, here's the thing though. If I was to this is the 4 hour. If I was
Yeah.
to go to the daily and the weekly,
Yeah.
I would be looking at the fact that um, that is due to go up to a newer all-time high. It's forming a cup to go back up. Now it could very well turn. I don't know. Go back out. See what's happening there.
Yes.
It was rejected at the 2400 range. It fell down, and now it's working its way back up. And there's a big wick above it, right? But
Yeah.
theoretically, that looks now. I don't know. I don't have the depth to know, but to me, all that did was come down and retest a level, and now that's due to go up.
Exactly. So, when every day, like we get a new candle, right? Like for the daily
Right.
candle, and for the weekly, you get a new candle as well. So whenever there's a new candle, it's what is likely going to do is it could either go up or come down. But first, it might make a lower wick.
Right.
So that lower wick, it could come down to our zone here, which that we identified as a resistant a previous resistance
Support
that turned to a
or
support now,
right.
right? So it could come down here or it could come down back to where this previous support that we have.
Hmm. Right. And that's where you have zones on top of zones on top of zones where
Exactly.
okay.
So, but with experience, right? Like I said, if it comes here, I'll be looking to take a buy. But also because of my experience, I also look for manipulation to take for like if price looks good for a sell, that is going to track my interest because I know that 90% of traders lose because they all have no self-control. They don't have discipline. They chase price. They don't know any news data, economics or macroeconomics, or they're just basically want to make money for the day. So
Yeah,
when
I understand.
price, yeah, so when price is just falling, a lot of people emotional, like they're too emotional, so they just chase price. So
Yeah, they're
let's
FOMO, fear of missing it.
exactly, exactly.
And
So let's
that's
say,
expensive.
yeah,
That's expensive.
exactly. So let's say even if it comes down and it closes here, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
People gonna think this is gonna clean traffic down, and
No, it doesn't.
it could, but it's not. It could just pull up, create a support here, and then continue moving out this way. Before it comes
Yeah.
down, before it makes that full move down, it would possibly come here to retest this resistance again, and then give you this move down here.
Yeah, there's variations, I guess, and that's the hard part is finding the
Exactly.
entry,
Exactly.
right?
So
And an entry
entries like you would want, let's say if this comes down here to a support area, like this is why I recommend you to back test, like to go through the chart, look at a one time frame, and then go because they all move the same. I would say the same, but the higher the time frame, the cleaner the candles. So you could start from the weekly, I would say, and then because it's more cleaner. But let's say it comes back to this area here. What would we want to see? Like we would want to see like a bullish engulfing candle, for example. If this candle closed, you could say enter buy here. Where would your stop loss would be? Below oh, below
Oh,
the
sorry.
zone.
Wait, now I just missed that. That's something I'm missing. I see these boxes all the time. Back that up and tell me exactly what that is. What tool is that?
Oh, this one here?
What that box you're dragging?
Yeah,
What is that?
um it's like just like a projection for long position and a short position.
What's it called? Well, I can't see the name of that. What's it called? I'm looking at my indicators. I'm trying to figure out what that is.
It's on trading view. You won't find it on
I don't have
MT5.
it's not on MT4 or 5?
No.
It's gonna have to go to the top of the list then, because I want that
The
range.
projection?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that range zone, that box you dragged up that shows you what you need.
exactly. Yeah, to analyze, you basically you draw the support resistance. We did that right here like this. I'm gonna show you how I do it. And then if this candle close, that's what I would
Mm.
say. If this candle close, there's a possible 70 to 80% chance that we could retest this zone here. That's if I'm scalping, that's what I'll be doing. Because when you're scalping, it doesn't matter what the direction is. Like if you're in an uptrend or downtrend, you just gotta be in and out at the right time and at the right place.
But that's the 4-hour chart. You wouldn't be scalping a 4-hour chart,
Yes,
correct?
but with the 4 hour, because you're not gonna get a new daily candle starting, right? But in the day, you're gonna have um what is it, like 5 or 6 4-hour candles starting, and with each candle starting, there's like pressure and volume forming in that candle. So you want to be with that 4 hour. For the 1 hour, like I mean, go you wouldn't want to scalp gold looking at the 15 minute because there's too much manipulation that's happening on the 15. Some people jump on the 1 minute, 5 minute, but based on my experience, it's not a good idea. 30 minutes, there's exceptions. So, but this is just to get an idea of where we're at. A 4 hour candle closing below the 4 hour support, that means something, right? So then we jump into the 1 hour, right?
Right.
We look at the 1 hour, we see what? We see another support that's close by. So there's really not enough range.
Right. Right.
Like it's gonna be like what, like two, maybe 10 pips.
Right.
So we jump into the 30 minute. 30 minute, we have this another range here, 2354.
Right.
Now this could be a zone, which is about 60 pips range.
That's a
We're
good trade.
it's a good trade, but we're not looking to catch the whole move. And we don't want it to go all the way. We just want piece of the pie. So we look to the left, we see
Mm-hmm.
this rejection zone here where
Mm-hmm.
price has rejected. So this would be my target.
Ah, okay.
And let's say we got the same exact setup right below. Like if this candle was closing here,
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
stop loss would be right above that rejection wick, right?
Hmm.
And my target would be the wick here. Now you're gonna say, okay, but the risk to reward is not, it's like 1 to 1, 2 to 1.
Yeah.
For me, I don't care about risk to reward.
Okay.
What matters is I get a winning trade, but it's not 1 to 1. Like it has to be 5 to 1, 6 to 1. Like most of my trades is like if I'm not catching like 70 to 100 pips, I'm not gonna be like looking to close out early or add another position or chase a trade.
Okay, but are you catching 70 to 100 pips moves every day on gold?
No, I'm not, because I'm not scalping. I told you I'm more like of an intraday
Mm-hmm.
trader. So I'm only showing you this one way of scalping.
Okay.
Yeah. So the way I do it is different. I used to do this scalping for like a good 2 years and a half. And it works, but there's a lot of manipulations that happen, especially if you're looking at the 30 minute. That's where price like liquidate. Like for example, I you see this, the 30 minute zone right here. There's a support, right?
Yeah.
Um, price came down, closed
Mm-hmm.
below,
Yeah.
and this is the next zone. Let me look it up here. This is the next zone.
There's,
Um,
there's a zone in the middle there. We have zones on top of zones there. See
this
those
one
three
here?
candles? Yeah, there's a zone right across there.
Yes. So, but on Friday, right? Price came down, and then this 30 minute closed below here. People here, when they see the support is being broken and we got a close below, clean
Mm-hmm.
traffic, right? So we should reach this area here. So what did they do? They put once the candle closed, they put their target here, stop loss above the wick, or they could do it above the previous wick. But because you're scalping gold, you don't want your stop loss to be big, right? You want your take profit to be big. So they put it above the recent high
Right.
of the candle. So, and look what happened. The next candle started,
Mm.
it took them out, and then it fell. but because it was in my session to trade, I actually took buys here.
I took a 65. I took a sell there for 65 pips
You took us where? Right here?
up higher.
Here?
Yeah, I sold that all the way down.
Perfect. That's amazing because uh since we broke in this area, this zone right here,
Yep.
we dropped and then we went back to this resistance area and then
Hmm.
we came back down. That's the
Yep.
proper way to do it. Nah, good job, man.
Yeah, it was hard. It was a. I only ran a point one into it. Right. I only
Yeah,
ran a. I only ran a point one into it on my funded account as a
yeah,
test to see if my entry was correct. And when it hit 65 pips down, it turned and went straight back up, as you see to the right. The next candle went to the right, walked its way right back up.
exactly.
And I moved my SL to my entry for a break even price. I didn't take any profit. I wanted to see if it was the actual breaking, if it had the force to break through that zone and come all the way down. It didn't. So that's all I was doing, was looking for that support zone that wasn't identified. And it became identified because nobody had called that a support zone there. It became identified as soon as it turned at 65 pips down. That's where the support is. And so it rained
Exactly.
all day off that stupid line. It couldn't get through it. There's a wall of money underneath that.
Yeah,
Big wall of money holding that price up.
for sure. That was really good trade. So, which price did you enter at for sale?
Let me just pull it up. Let's see. 2366.
2366.
I think that was the correct trade. I think that's the same trade we're talking about. Show
Right
me your.
here.
Is that the trade? I set it on my break even. Yep, I think that's the same trade we're talking about. The same candle.
This big one right here. At
Yep.
10 o'clock?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yes. So that's a beautiful trade because it went up and then the candle was still forming the 30 minutes. It flipped bearish and we reached target after this manipulation that happened over here.
Yep.
So if you took a sell at this candle here and your stop was above the wick, you would have went into profits for a little bit and then you would have got stopped out.
Correct. And that's why when it hit 65 pips down, I wondered if it had the power to run all the way through, but it didn't. It turned and walked its way back up.
Yeah,
And at that point, I set my SL to break even, and then I watched it go. I made $17 on the trade. I didn't care. It wasn't about making the money. It was about getting the
exactly.
call. It was about getting the call right. Because had it broke 65 pips, then I would have layered into the trade, and it would have been fine.
Exactly.
Right?
The money will come. You
Yeah.
know, first you just gotta have the process ready, the right way.
Mm. But that was luck. I mean, truthfully, I'm not good enough to make those calls every day.
Yeah, based on your past experience,
Yeah.
probably have seen it happen before. You weren't just guessing. I'm assuming, right?
No, I was following the support and the resistance, and I tried it because it was almost against trend. Because you're right, it was bullish, and then it flipped bearish,
Exactly.
and it was against trend where I decided to take it.
Yes. And
And it,
then yeah, go ahead.
it, it was a risky move, but that's why it was only a point one, right? It was a
Yes.
risky move, but once it picked up speed, it ran.
But you
And
see,
now
you said it was risky. That's the thing. Like the market is not rational. The market is irrational. Like one plus one in the
it's,
markets does not
it's
mean
three. It's three.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's three.
And it rots me. As an engineer, one plus one is two. I don't care what color and what language. One plus one is two. And everywhere is that true except the Forex gold market.
100%. If you see that we after making a high, we came back to this previous resistance and then we bounced off from here. So you could possibly have taken a buy here after closing like a bullish engulfing. You could
Where? Right on
uh
that.
Once this candle closed, like respecting this previous resistance that became like a support, you could put
Right.
your stop loss below the current wick, and your target could be this resistance here, or you could go for this wick here or this full range. But it's Friday, right? Like anything could happen. It could go halfway, 25% of the range, and volume dies down after like 12, 1 o'clock. The volume starts to becomes less and less. You only
Hmm.
get that volume between like pre-New York until like London close. That's a good volume.
Yeah. The funny thing else about back testing is trading in real time. If you look at, I'm referring to the 30-minute candle at server time through the center of the wick at 1800. That's not how that candle opened. That's how it closed. On a back test, it looks like a solid entry. That's not the case. That's not how that candle played out in actuality. That's what that candle ended up as.
Yes.
And this is the difference between back testing and watching it in real time.
Yes, it's so different.
Because what that candle actually did and what it shows in the end are two very, very, very different things, in my
Exactly.
opinion, right?
Yeah.
So it looks like it was a solid entry there, but in actuality, it wasn't. And that's the
Yes.
kicker. That's why it was such a hard, like it was such a risky move what I did, because what you see now after is not what you were given a choice with to make a decision on an in or an out, a short or a long.
Exactly. When people saw this candle forming, like I could guarantee you this, many were taking buys here because they're like, oh, we rejected a bullish engulfing closing here, but it's not at a support, right? It's closing here, and there's possibility we could retest this high over here. It just took all these buy orders, and then the candle flips, and that's where you got in to
Yep.
retest this low,
Yep.
and it went even further than that.
And I got in on the fly. It wasn't
Exactly.
I didn't think it was going up. I checked it to see if it was going down because I was looking for the zone. There was a zone in there, and it was either going to break back down to 30 or it was going to go back up. Well, it didn't
Exactly.
either. It showed us where a zone is, and then it ranged the rest of the day in that zone, and it's still currently sitting in that zone.
You take entries based off like what, the 30 minute in the 1 hour?
I prefer the 30-minute and the 1 hour, but I watch the 1 minute a lot for entries because when it's in a huge downward pressure,
Yeah.
my Warthatar, the only indicator I truly pay attention to, if I'm looking at a buy and the Warthatar is running red straight up, I know it's going down, right? And when the Warthatar turns to go green, it takes a minute to readjust itself because it often happens in the market. They'll sell, 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 and then the sells will stop, and then they'll go and buy, buy, buy. And as soon as they start to buy, I have about a 30-second lag. And then once it starts to show me the new direction, then I'm like, okay, now it's a buy. If I miss it by a pip or 5 or 10 pips, I don't really care because I'm
Yes.
looking for a 70 or 80 pip move. If it's a 20 pip scalp, then no, I don't touch it.
Yeah.
Right? Like if it's
Yes.
in a bouncing in a zone and I miss the first 3 or 4 pips because it's still going down out of a 20 pip, I don't touch it. I just watch it. And then I mark it to if it shows me a new zone or if it strong rejection or a candle flips, you know.
Yes.
So I don't know. Maybe I overwatch it too much, and the Warthatar keeps me out of a trade where people are FOMOing in to get to a buy when it's a sell. I'm like, no, it's going straight down.
Yeah.
When it goes straight down for 30 or 40 pips in a candle, you know,
Exactly.
you can get liquidated.
100%. Especially if you're over leveraging or over
Well, yeah.
risking.
Well, yeah. My personal account is 500 to 1 leverage, and my funded account is 100 to 1 leverage.
Yes.
I use my funded account more than my personal account unless my trade is 200% spot on, and then I enter in my personal account.
Any other person, like honestly, like if they're just starting out, like I would not recommend them to go for funded unless if they have like 2 to 3 years. of money management, uh, and have already like reached like a break even at least stage
Oh,
in their
okay.
career.
Well, all right. Fair enough. Okay, so how would you know where to get out of that trade? Let's go back to the trade I caught.
Yes.
When it flipped, how would
Yeah.
you actually, so you know where I got in at 66 on a flip, right? And I was hoping this would break all the way down
Yeah.
to 30, right? I was hoping this would be a good 100, 200 pip drop,
Oh,
right?
to 30?
Mm-hmm.
Mm. So like on average, gold moves like 20, $30 a day.
Yeah, I know that.
Yes. So like we have already dropped from like where from 78 to 56. That's about like $30.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's 28, but okay, yeah, 28, $30.
Yeah.
56, yeah, 56 to 70, 56 to 86 would be 30.
Yeah. So for it to drop to 30, it needs to be like NFP or something.
Right, but it ran up the day before, it ran up 200 pips for no
Yes.
reason, right?
Yeah, for which day?
Then the day before,
This day
that
right
night
here.
before, Thursday night, it ran up. Look,
Yes.
it ran up in the Asian session 150. It was crazy.
Yes. Yes.
So, but anyways, the reason I took that trade is to see if it was going to flip and come back down. And it ranged all Friday. You know what I mean? So where would I have gotten out? I took that trade at 66.
Yeah, right here.
The probably trade started at 60, 61, 62 somewhere on the flip.
Yeah.
Okay. Where would you have gotten out? If you were to analyze this trade and you had first, had you with your skill and your ability,
Yeah.
where would you have said this trade, if it would you even thought of, first of all, would you even thought of that it's going to flip? And if it flips, I'm going to take it and I'm going to get out where? Like
Yes.
a 65 pip trade is a good trade for gold.
Yes. So,
So
your stop loss, where was your stop loss? Above the wick?
yeah, above the wick.
Yes. So your target,
I was letting
uh,
it run.
this is why it's important to draw your support and resistance zone, right? And
Mhm.
for me, where I would have came out, my target would have been this wick right here. Hold on one sec. This wick here, that bullish candle, that
How many
rejection
how many pips is that?
from your entry till here, 65, 64 pips.
Exactly what it, and that's at that point I moved my I think I was at 55 bucks profit and I moved
Yeah,
my SL to break even.
break even like that.
Yeah.
Yes,
I moved it down there because if it was going to run more, I needed it to get by that candle. And once it get past that candle, I would have layered in and secured 65 in profit.
yes.
That's where you would have gotten out is there.
I would have actually done the same thing. Like, but like for me, I would be happy. Like even with 50 pips, 60 pips, or it just based on my time and how long I'm sitting on the chart.
Right. I
Yeah.
get that.
So if that was my first target, then I'll just close it all of it over there, or secure 50% and let another 50% run. If this wasn't my target, then I'll just look to the left
Right.
and wait 10 minutes. I would just put like mark the rejections.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's rejection zone, even the body of the candle,
Hmm.
because the bodies are, if you zoom in to the smaller time frame, it's a support or a resistance.
Right. So you take
Yes,
those lines, you leave them there, and you go to the 15-minute time zone and you see where they correlate to.
exactly. Even like you see like this is the 5 minute. There's has been like a previous resistance right here.
Right. And there was
Yeah,
clear running above that three candles up. Sorry, it's hard for me to.
let me zoom in.
Yeah, yeah. See, there was a see that red candle in the middle? Messed up everything right there.
This one, yes.
No, the one
It-
to the left.
oh,
The one
here.
to the left right there right? There was a wall of money. Somebody sold it down. They pushed it down. They ran
Exactly.
it. They filled all their orders, and then the buyers pushed right back up through to clean air, and it ran.
Exactly.
Right?
You know how to read the market, man. You're a professional.
No, 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 no. I'm just a hair above a beginner. That's all I am. But I'm a very good technical person. I know what's going on. I just need to be able to catch the entries and the exits within 5 or 10 pips. You
Yes.
know,
Just give it some time. Like by next year, man, watch. Watch the level up.
well, I want to be able to get to the point to open the chart at any time in the day and see whether it's worth for me to sit down at it and take money out of it.
Yeah. So that's gonna come with a lot of experience.
Well, I spend every day in front of the computer watching it, and it
Yes.
rots me that when it ranges and then it repaints, candles almost repaint. It's funny because from what happens during the actual 15-minute candle or the half-hour candle is never the same once it's done, because
Yes.
there's plenty of options to play in the candle on a downtrend or an uptrend. It's just a matter of catching it the right way.
Exactly. And I think you mentioned earlier you wanted to switch like to full-time trading where you want to be sitting on the screen, right?
I
All
do.
day. So honestly, I do not recommend that at all.
What do you mean?
So it's best to just come in, take your trade, call it a day, and get as far as possible from the screen. But you also you need to have your session time. So let's say you say in your trading plan that you're gonna show up from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. every single day. And I'm only gonna watch the market performing at that time.
Okay.
You shouldn't be going into Asian, marking the charts, maybe thinking of taking a trade and then going into London and doing that. It's not you have to think of it like a professional, like a Wall Street trader, for example. They're not doing that. They're not sitting in front of the charts all day. They're only there to get their piece of the pie at the right time in that session and leave.
Really?
Yes. No one is sitting in front of the computer. Like especially if you're scalping, you don't want to be jumping in and out every session because every like in Forex, especially Forex, 90% of people lose every day. So even if you don't have a trade that day, you're already beating 90% of the people. We're
Because
only retail traders. We're not like
we're
like
not
banks.
institutional level money.
Exactly.
What I try to do is figure out when the banks buy and sell, and I move
Yeah.
with them to get money. I don't I can't create the market. Even if I called everybody I knew, I
Exactly.
still move the market.
No, you wouldn't be able to. Even if you go with like thousands of lots,
You can't do it.
you
No.
can't.
No,
No,
there's a reason it's an $11 trillion market,
100%.
right? And I get that. It's just about finding when the banks are going to move, buy and sell, and what the order blocks are,
Yes.
and move with them. Like that
Yes.
trade I caught was only by luck that the candle was going to flip, and I decided to get in to see where the zone was. And that's all it was an exploratory trade. That's why it was only one trade, and I didn't layer into it.
Yes. So like just stick to 1 to 2 trades a day. That's my advice. And imagine if you only stick to one trade and you catch the same trade you did on Friday.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That would be nice, right? Imagine if you're sitting 8 hours in front of the screen and you're looking for the same trade to happen. It's not going to show up.
No,
And if it does, your chances of winning is like 50-50.
right.
I hope that makes sense.
It does. It does. It
Yeah.
just, but to make this a living, you have to spend time in front of the computer,
Yes, you do. Yes.
right?
First early years, you do have to spend like watch the charts, what it's doing, but you also have to keep like you have to hold yourself accountable and not overanalyze and try to jump into trades just because you see it. You gotta have a written trading plan that you could follow and take it like seriously, you know?
Well, that's what I haven't made yet as a trading plan, other than trying not to lose money and trying to figure out the best way in and the best way out.
Yeah, I know that's what everyone is doing, right? Everyone wants to make the money and go spend it or save it or compound it. Even compounding, I wouldn't say do that. Like if you made money in that week, same week, withdraw it. Is like try, don't even think about the percentage like of how much you're trying to get in a day. Just have a winning trade. That's all you got to do in your first early days.
Mm,
Just get a winning trade and look at it. Why did that happen? How could I made it better? How could I held it longer? Where could my stop loss be? Maybe how could I add another position?
right,
You know,
right.
how could I have taken positions off? That's if you do that every day instead of focusing, oh, I'm gonna make 1, 2% every day for the whole year. Like it just you're putting yourself at the edge and like you're gonna get mad at yourself when things doesn't go your way. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Okay.
It's a
Okay.
lot of psychological like game, mental game, you know?
Hmm. I see. I see. That makes sense.
Yes. Just to let you
That,
know, the minute it's like a 1 minute left for the call to end.
okay.
Um, is there anything that we haven't covered that you need to?
Um, no, I'm good. Actually, do me a favor. When we end this one, give me a call back, but don't record it for a second.
Yeah, yeah,
End
no
it,
problem.
and we'll just. I want to chat with about something else that we don't need to record. It's silliness for that respect. I'm
Yeah,
curious.
yeah, 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 no
Um,
problem.
but I'd love to pick your brain for 5 more minutes. I'm sure you got a busy day, and I do appreciate your time. And the insight has been enlightening, actually.
Good, good. No
So,
problem. Yeah, I'm just gonna end the call right now and I'll give you a call back.
okay, perfect. Thank you.